But I wonder, in this sense, like we see people start businesses and they try to start brands and then they don't even trust themselves because something deviated in the story. So for me, I'm thinking about your situation now. COVID was an alter, right? You 6 months after you start this business, and we actually recorded the podcast, this unimaginable event happens in your business, but you still trust the brand. So can you talk about that? How you didn't deviate from that story that you created and try to create a new one?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think that first of all, sometimes your brand story might change a little bit, and having the flexibility and knowing what can change and what can't change, that's like an intuition you got to have as, a founder, as a creator, and you'll build that up over time, right? That's like a muscle that you build over time. For us, my guy right now is taking a video of all this. That day that the cafe shut down, we pulled up with cameras and we documented in real time, it raining on the window, me standing outside being like, yo, this is insane. And in real time sharing how I felt, because that was still central to who we were as founders in that brand, right? We still believed in the business, believed in the community, believed in our product. We just got hit with the act of God, right? But that didn't mean that I wasn't allowed to be vulnerable. And I think that's the other key here, right? Is like people look at, even with John now, like John's the face of Loop, but John's brand is different from the Loop brand, right? And so like there may be certain vulnerabilities that he has to share as a founder that won't be reflected on the company, but they'll be reflected in his journey. And that's the perspective I took. I was like, look, I'm the founder, I'm the owner, and I'm taking these L's, and I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna share them. But the company is still gonna be all things go, sticking to the story, but we're gonna show the reality of it in different ways.
I wanted to say something before we go on a different topic. We interviewed Grant Cardone, and he actually
shout out Uncle G.
yeah, episode out now, classic. So
128, right?
We was telling him about the trucks, and he said, he was like, what would be really good marketing? I'm like, what? He was like, burn it. He's like, burn the truck. And so he was saying how one of his
it's so grand, man. It's ridiculous.
His truck burnt. He had a truck and it burnt, and they called him like, yo, the truck is on fire. And he was like, tape it. That's good content. But so, and shout out to Matty J. This is one of the most profound things I've ever heard in life. Matty J on Ash Cash's podcast, Inside the Vault, EYL Network.
Slight plug.
So Matty J said he was on Toro. He took a major L. His cars was getting like messed up. He had to go to mechanic. He was losing money. While he was losing money, while he was making all of these mistakes, he was documenting his journey, because he said one day people will pay you for your failure. That means is that everything that you went through is now going to be a learning experience. Now you can teach. Yep. So now you went through a global pandemic and lost money and did this and did that. Now you are in a unique position as somebody that actually made it out of that, as the voice of authority. Now people will pay you for mentorship, for courses, for classes, for books, whatever. So it's like, even in a loss, there's a blessing, because by documenting that and by not running from it, by embracing it, it puts you in a position as being an authority that people have to come to you, because the next time there's a global pandemic, the only way that they can learn is from somebody that's already been through it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they've watched you go through something, right? They've watched you in the mud, and it's like, I was with him. I remember when he was crying. I'm so happy for him. I want to support him in any way I can. John, I got a question for you. As Ani was talking, I was thinking to myself, right? You have a trusted brand as yourself, as John Henry. What is that like now going to Loop? Or do you feel like you have to reinvent yourself, and or your audience that was with you that knows you as John Henry, are you thinking they're automatically going to come with you now to Loop? And what's that process like?
Man, it's a learning experience for sure. My brain is gritty as fuck, right? Like Ani, when he came on, he said, John, I see you got the two-tone back. I got the two-tone back. All right. Here's the thing.
Day.
Here's the thing. This is no, sir. Just the day just. I had to pawn this bad boy. This bad boy right here, I had to pawn it when I was in my lowest point of these renovations, went south. I'm out of pocket, and I had to come up with the mortgage, and I was tizapped. I was tapped. And I was looking around like, yo, what could I just like, what could I sell for 3Gs? And and I did one of these. I was like, oh fuck. And and I knew what I had to do. And I pulled up to the Diamond District. Shout out my boy Gabriel. And yeah, he slipped me 3Gs for it. And I bought it back. And then that happened one more time before the end of the deal. And so now it's a badge of honor. But for example, that's my brand. I'm just a gritty motherfucker. I don't mind it. But the Loop brand is an insurance company. It's a financial services entity. And so this for me has been an exercise of phase one is me leveraging my personal brand, much like you do, to prop up these new entities. But at a certain point, you got to step back and let this new entity grow, because if you lean on your own brand too heavily for too long, then you will never be able to outgrow the current size of your brand. And I know that Loop will be a multi-billion-dollar company. We will take it public, and it can never get there if it's the JH show. It has to end up being something that's larger than any one person. And in order for that to happen, I have to take a step back. And so it's still something that we're learning to do and we're proactively thinking through, because at the same time, you want to use all the things that you have at your disposal. Because if you are Bobby Bernstein and you got a rich uncle who put up bread to get your business going, and by the way, let's say he's got a portfolio of buildings and he can put you on and whatever, you're going to take advantage of that. And so we as a culture have very little things that we can take advantage of. So the few tools that we have, we definitely should deploy. That's my take. So, man, Ani, I want to give you the last word here. We're coming up.
Can we do like a bonus round?
Let's do a bonus round.
All right. Well, I just got one more question. Then can we get like 2 questions from the
yeah, Ernest,
from the audience?
Y'all got questions?
Right, so
raise your hand.
All right, I just got one question before we go to question and answer. Scarcity. How do you feel about the scarcity model as far as branding? Because like Cronuts, that's a shop in New York that they sell Cronuts, which is like a combination of donuts and croissants. They're only open for like an hour a day at like 8 o'clock in the morning. This is before COVID. I don't know what happened, but you gotta, and I actually did this before. You gotta like wait in line at like 6 o'clock in the morning. They open up, but just like it's a scarcity model. There's a variety of different people that even sneakers, Jordans, they release the sneakers. They only have a certain amount. Nike can make as many sneakers as they want, but they know that if they have a limited amount, it drives the demand. It's a whole scarcity play. So how do you feel about scarcity model in building brand and marketing?
Yeah, I mean, so personally, I think that as a society, or just there's so much going on right now that if you can afford to lean on scarcity as a point of attraction, use it sparingly. But I think that nowadays, like if you're in the middle of a gold rush and you're like being romantic or being cute about how much you're putting out, I think that could actually be a disservice for a lot of brands. So I'm aware of the power of scarcity. We went through it ourselves during COVID. We had a brunch at the restaurant that was like only had 10 seats a day, and we would sell out in like 15 minutes every day, and it was a great way to like build awareness around what was happening and keeping us top of mind. So it does work 100%. But I think what a lot of people do is they lean on scarcity when they don't really have something that actually validates their brand, if that makes sense, right? And if you're starting something new and it's like, oh, only 50 pairs, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I think scarcity is a tool that you can deploy with finesse when you're at that point, but don't lean on that to start something, because it's kind of see-through.
Yeah, there's other ways to deploy scarcity too, though, right? It's not just quantity; it's also time sensitivity.
Time.
Yeah. Right. So you can make it for a limited time. And for example, when I'm out there raising money, one thing I realize is if you don't give them if there's no time that the round is gonna end, people will kick the tires forever until there's an action forcing event. So I would agree with you, Ani. But also some of these classic retailers that, ironically have gone out of business, they do things really well, certain things really well. And that was the offers, right? So like it can be something that cheapens your brand, but these man, these cats are good at straight off, like JC Penney's with the ill offers. Now, not every brand's gonna be a coupon brand. However, I pay attention to, offers that drive a lot of value. And Ani, you're in the e-com business and EYL, you guys run these flash sales too. So I think scarcity, I agree with you, Ani. I like your take that scarcity is a tool and you should learn to use it. And I think that scarcity in the fashion business specifically works very differently probably than any other industry from what I've seen.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.